I wanted to talk a little bit about past mistakes and how to deal with them in a positive way. Now, I've touched on this in a lot of audios, but I want to talk about a situation in particular. Now, previously, I did an audio in regards to how to handle your spiritual gifts and how to be humble while doing so and not worrying about trying to get the approval or attention of others while you're trying to work on your spiritual gifts. And it made me think about this particular topic, so I wanted to go ahead and speak on that. When you are exercising your spiritual gifts, of course, you need to keep quiet as to how you're doing it. You need to keep quiet as to how you're doing it. And I know we live in a society where there's free speech. You got social media where you can just show everything that's going on and everything else. But you got to be careful. If you have a situation where you already have a small circle of people who barely support you, or you come from a dysfunctional environment or something like that, you probably don't want to post your progress as to what's going on, because if you've already had problems before you started problems with people before you started exercising your spiritual gifts, the problems are just going to get bigger. And I'm not saying this to be negative. I'm just trying to let you know how human nature is. The bottom line is that every single person that is created, they're created for a reason, regardless of the circumstances they're here. Now, in basic biology, of course, you have a sperm and an egg that creates a child. But do you understand it's going to have to take millions and millions of sperm just to get one through to permeate an egg? And the Creator designed that for a reason. If it was so simple where just one sperm creates an egg, we would be overflooded with people. But it doesn't happen that way. It's done because of divine timing. And I had to think about this the other day. And I don't know why it came to mind, but I think it was because I was supposed to speak on it. You're here for a purpose and a reason. And if you were born in a toxic or dysfunctional environment where people, they don't understand that concept because it probably wasn't taught to them, it was probably the result of a generational curse. Or maybe if it wasn't a generational curse, it was because of some kind of trauma they endured that altered their state of mind to the point where they just don't have a positive outlook in life. You might not ever exercise your gift in this lifetime, and it's a sad thing to say. But I've seen too many people come from adverse conditions be able to exercise their spiritual gift and live fruitful lives. But what happens is that society comes and throws the okie doke in and tries to tell you, okay, well, the reason why somebody does so and so is because of their past. Let me tell you something. Your past could be a blessing, and I just realized this recently. My past is a blessing to me because everything that I experienced, whether I did it or whether it was done to me, it was in a way so I can come to you today at the age of 53 years old and I can help someone with my experience. That's the reason why the past is a blessing to me. One of the main reasons. There are several reasons. It helped me develop certain character traits that I was not raised up with. Now, there are certain character traits that I was raised up with that is a huge blessing and is helping me through my life that I do not see in other people that are still in my age group. So I am truly blessed with that. But let's face it, our parents were not perfect. Nobody's parents were perfect. I'm a parent. I'm not perfect. I've made mistakes. And when my children become parents, they're going to make mistakes because that's the human experience. The human experience is flawed. But what we need to stop doing as a people is looking at a mistake, as the sword of Damocles, and that's the end, and it's over with, and there's no coming back. That's a certain level of judgment, and it needs to stop. See, the thing is, the mistakes I made in my past, and I made some doozies, have actually created a certain persona in people's heads where they have judged me to the point where they don't even communicate with me. But I look back on that, and there was a time where I was like, man, I said, did I mess up that bad where this person hates me? And I beat myself up so bad, and I felt so bad over it. But you know what? The tables have turned a little bit with some of these people, and they know who they are. See, the same thing that I was judged and I was criticized for and I was disregarded for, instead of them taking the time to figure out why and offer some real active help, what they did is they chose to judge and criticize. And all of us have been in a position like this and have dealt with that person. And every single one of us go through a period of, well, you know, that you beat yourself up. Well, if I didn't do so and so, then they wouldn't treat me like this. I have a news flash for you. Guess what? They already felt negative of you before you made a mistake. How about that? Let me say that again. If you made a mistake and you have moved on in your life, you have repented to your higher power, you've moved on in your life, and you're heading for a more positive outlook, you're riding off into the sunset, you're not wallowing in the bullshit, you're doing better than you were before, and that person is still treating you like shit. Guess what? They're not treating you like shit because of the mistake. They've been treating you like shit before the mistake happened. You just didn't realize it until you went through the bullshit you went through and you opened your eyes and saw what was really happening. That ill intent was there before you started making mistakes. What the mistake did, it just gave them a false justification to mistreat you. They had been mistreating you before you did it. Yeah. So what you need to do is, when you think back to your past, you're living a new life now. You have nothing to do with what went on. What went on. You've developed a spiritual connection. You're on a better path. And someone wants to bring up your past, don't go back to beating yourself up over it. As a matter of fact, use it as fuel to determine who you're going to have in your present and your future. Use it as fuel. Look at the lessons. Look at those experiences. See, the good thing about you and your past is you can cherry pick things in your past and create a source of positive energy so you can help someone right now that's going through the same shit. You can tell them what to do. You can tell them what not to do. You can tell them what mistakes you made. And every time you share that with someone who's gone through what you went through, you're going to be blessed. And see, a lot of people don't understand that. They want you to stay in a state of perpetual misery because of a mistake or two or three or a dozen that you made. But see, the thing is, you're not making them now. And they can't see past that. So what you need to do is ask yourself, before you start worrying about how come somebody doesn't have a close relationship with you and this, that, and the other, you need to do two things. The first thing you need to do is you need to look back in the past and think about the type of relationship you had before you even made the mistake. It probably wasn't that good anyway. So what the hell are you missing out on? You're not. And then the second thing that you need to do is you have to take a more active stance as to who you're going to have around you in the future, because your bounty is coming in. Your abundance is coming in. And I'm going to tell you something. If that person mistreated you when you didn't have shit, before you made mistakes, you think they're going to treat you well now? If they show you love now, they're only showing you fake love because it's all about them. It's always been all about them and what they want for you. They never had your best interest at heart. They never did. People are brought in for a reason, and some people are brought in for a season. But there's only a select few, very small group of people that are going to be with you the whole time. That's why it's important to have a strong spiritual connection with your Creator, because there are going to be some times where you're going to be the only one that's going to be the voice of reason in a situation, because all them so-called people ain't got the wherewithal that you got. They don't have the tough skin. They can't go through the fire, and they're going to be turning to you to ask you to make the final decision, even when it's down to cutting the cord or pulling a plug, because they can't deal with the shit. I've been in that situation in many occasions where I had to give the last word. So don't sit here and beat yourself up anymore. Use your past to your advantage. Use it as a blessing to help someone who's going through it. Don't keep it all to yourself. And don't worry about the opinions of people who didn't even help you through your bullshit in the first place. I ran into this recently. I had someone come to me from my past and tell me, oh, well, you know what? I noticed that you talk about your situation with the functional addiction, and maybe you should just tone that down. For what? Tone it down? Are you fucking serious right now? I'm helping people. And that told me two things. I said, first of all, you embarrassed now? And this is a person that ain't had shit to do with my situation when I was going through the anxiety, the mental illness, the suicide attempts, and everything else. They wasn't nowhere around, and all of a sudden they got something to say because, see, now I'm out in the open talking about my story. You feel embarrassed. Bitch, please. Yes, I said it. And you know who you are. I don't give a damn if I hear from you today or tomorrow. You weren't around when I was during their death, so all of a sudden you got an opinion? But see, I did some investigating on you. You know who you are. You're going through the same shit that I went through. Indirectly, you are going through the same shit that I went through. That's what karma does. Karma makes the person who judges you and hurts you in the past go through the same shit that you went through when you were being judged. That's what karma does. That's one of the ways karma hits you. So anyway, just use your past to your advantage. That's all I'm trying to say. The beating up, the self-defeating type thing. See, that's what these people want you to do because they don't want you to share your gift to help anybody else, because that takes courage. It takes courage to show full disclosure. It takes courage to open yourself up, and those people don't have it. And when they see that you are doing something like that, they are triggered. They are scared. They are afraid. These people probably spoke death on your name and wasn't expecting you to be around anyway. They don't, and the bottom line is that they don't want to admit that they were wrong. They don't want to admit it. You're spiritually above them and they can't stand it. And with that, I'm going to go ahead and go. Have a great day, people.